It's weird comparing year 2 Street Fighter 6 to the end of life Street Fighter 5. I don't think it's weird to do. I mean, obviously it's illogical to do, but I don't think it's weird to do. I think it makes sense. It's a thing in your mind. It's what people do. I mean, I get what you're saying. They should be a little bit more nuanced with it to compare the different points of life that the games are in. That's how everyone will compare things. Their most recent memory than the game that kicked out that game from their rotation. I just love the fact that people are acting like they weren't ready to jump to 6 like 5 was poison. Oh, I don't understand why everybody has this like collective idea. Well, I guess I do understand it, but I would just remind the individuals here, remember that the blob that your brain like treats like the social media websites you visit, it's not just, remember, it's comprised of individuals that have their own individual opinions, and that you see a general trend amongst them, and then the majority of it dictates and colors your perception of the group, and then that majority or most active subgroup might bubble up at different points in time, and it's not the hypocrisy of the same individuals from one time versus the other. You're seeing the opinions of different individuals in a group. Remember. Remember that. Is that to say that there wasn't a handful of people that maybe this week were tweeting how much they love Street Fighter 5, even though a year and a half ago they said, fuck this shit? Maybe. There might be a handful. But I just remember, if you are contributing to this narrative that, wow, everyone hated Street Fighter 5, now they love it. There was a lot of people who love Street Fighter 5, and they're just revisiting that right now in a public way and sharing those memories. And there's a lot of people who hate Street Fighter 5, and they still hate it. And that's it. That's it. I think it's very normal to be nostalgic about a time in your life. No matter how shitty or not you may have actually thought it to have been, or how good or not you thought the game you're heavily playing at the time was, even there's still, you can still look back on positive memories associated with that time, even if overall you didn't like it. Also, in the heat of the moment, everyone is stressed. In a competitive game, it's competitive. It's testing your ego. You're trying to constantly find marginal returns on effort and investment and make gains in something that you're no longer seeing immediate progress in. Once you hit the wall in any skill-driven endeavor, it becomes a discipline, and it becomes fucking hard to keep going. And you can get frustrated, your ego can be tested. Like, there's a lot of negative emotions that come with hitting that wall, and that's very normal. And so during the time when you're going through that, you could outwardly express a lot of negativity, but really it's about something deeper than that, because it's about a competitive direction that you're trying to go in. It's about bettering your skill in an area and getting negative feedback over and over. And also, whenever people work hard to find success, when you look back, you remember the success more than the pain you went through to achieve that. That is just how our brains work. You will look back on that moment where you finally had that one clip, or like you landed that one combo, and you're not going to be like, man, I fucking got bodied. I spent 1,000, 2,000 hours on this game. The netcode was ass. I hated this. No, like, you're more likely to have a positive, more powerful memory about that one moment where something went well your way and you're proud of what you achieved than all the pain you went through to get there, right? That's normal. Nostalgia makes you forget the negative stuff more, rose-tinted glasses. I guess, but that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think that's the wrong perspective to look at it. We are playing competitive games. While you are competing, you are stressed, but you're grateful for it later. That's not what I'm saying. Now, rose-tinted glasses to me would be for something that is it's easier to apply that to things that are like non-competitive endeavors. Like, if you're just watching a movie, and the movie is, like, movies can challenge you, art can challenge you, but it's not the same thing as competition or working to succeed at something. If you watched a movie as a kid, and you're like, oh, that movie was so good, and then you watch it later, and it was ass, and you're like, oh, shit, actually, that was just rose-tinted glasses. That's one thing. But I think the other thing is this perception you see of people complaining. You can't take verbatim what people say while people are competing. You can't listen to the exact words that people say when they're stressed, when they're competing, when they're going through it, when they're being challenged over and over. The stuff that people put out into social media is a reflection of that personal trial and trying to grow and compete. It's totally different. It's not a logical sort of emotion. So what I'm saying is, it's okay to be pissed in the moment when you're competing in games, and it's okay to look back on it fondly. That's what we do. It's normal. So you can't look at, like, even if some of the people right now were talking shit about Street Fighter V in the moment, that's them venting stress because they cared. Now, some people, like, would compete in something and genuinely hate it, and they never came around on it or never looked back on it fondly, and that wasn't for them. It wasn't through and through negative experience, don't care about it. But I just also think you can't just... People are illogical, emotional creatures, and they're processing things in real time. And when you make those perceptions and like those snapshots of what people are processing in real time, and not look at it as a continuum or the part of a process, and look at it as a completion. This is the final, their final perspective or their final vision of whatever they're discussing. That's not how people are. So it's totally normal for a game that had a lot of negativity during its time for people to look back nostalgic on. And also, Street Fighter V was not a bad game, and a lot of people liked it. Street Fighter V release, yeah, I think it was fucking terrible. But Street Fighter V end years, when people who stuck around and also the new people got into it, I know firsthand a lot of new people got into Street Fighter V through my content, right? And they missed all the negativity that occurred like pre-Arcade Edition, and they joined like in the final season with Oro and everything, because I did like all the Road to Warlord stuff. So I had so many people saying, why do people hate Street Fighter V? Right? Like, I had so many people who used to say stuff like that. Like, I'm new to the community. I don't understand why everyone just shits on this game nonstop. And you got to understand, like, you know, and then, okay, a polished turd is still a turd. Well, I don't think it was a turd at all. And I don't think it was a polished turd. I think it was a good game. And if you didn't enjoy playing Oro, man, I think you missed out. At the end of the day, I think it was great. I had a ton of fun playing Oro. I think Rose was sick. I think that game was amazing. And I think everyone who looks at that and just casts it aside, I just feel bad that you weren't able to enjoy something great. I mean, it's Street Fighter V's fault, though. It released like shit. Like that is Street Fighter V's fault. Like I can't blame the consumer. It's just an unfortunate situation through and through. I miss the spreadsheets. Yeah, and also another thing, like as a content creator, especially as one that's older, I don't want to ever engage in nostalgia as content because I don't want to cement myself in an era. You get what I'm saying? I know a lot of my viewership, a lot of my biggest boost came from the Road to Warlord era, and I don't want to be stuck there. I don't ever want to be stuck there, and I don't want my audience to be stuck there. I don't want people coming into my stream and being nonstop like, man, remember Road to Warlord? Remember when, you know, I don't want that. I think you have to move on. So like I'm very hesitant to like put main channel videos or whatever, like engaging in nostalgia. I think it's cool to look back and do like retrospectives here and there, or like compare and contrast game design, but it's definitely never something I ever want to focus on. There's so much more to look forward to. Like those crosscuts, you saw that?